It didn't take long for the people over at Fox News to use the death of former Secretary of State Colin Powell to attack vaccines. In fact, here is Fox host Will Kane, and, well, watch.
You brought up COVID. Look, this day will be a day for many things, for remembering the man, for remembering the leader that was lost. It's also a day to understand the implication on everyday Americans. And the reports are he died from complications of COVID. The family has made a point in their post on Facebook this morning that Colin Powell was fully vaccinated. And as Americans out there wonder what lies ahead for them, and they search and they need truth moving forward, we're seeing data from across the world. We're seeing data from Europe, from the United Kingdom, that fully vaccinated people are being hospitalized and fully vaccinated people are dying from COVID. And here we have a very high-profile example that is going to require more truth from our government, from our health leaders as well, as we talk about this story on a day when state after state and institution after institution are pushing mandates for vaccination.
All right, so, and there it is. Oh, would you look at that? Yeah, well, we got to have the truth. We got to have the truth. The truth is out there. I mean, literally. and not in the, like X-Files way. No. It is out there. Everybody paying attention knows that there is limitations to the vaccine. Yes, we know that breakthrough cases can happen, but they're rare. We also know that deaths from those breakthrough cases can happen, once again, quite rare. This is all publicly stated by the CDC. Everybody knows this is not nefariously hidden knowledge. Okay, like the deep state is not hiding the fact that there are breakthrough infections, okay? They're not hiding the fact that, oh my God, some of these breakthrough infections can be very serious, and that the Delta variant is very serious. No, they've all been very, very upfront about that. But see, understand that if you watch Fox News, they go out of their way to be like, oh my God, did you know there were breakthrough cases? If you have had a vaccine, you can still get sick from COVID. You mean it doesn't work 100% of the time? It's not like some magic shield that repels everything COVID related? Oh my God, then it must not be worth it at all. Thing is, no one's ever claimed that it is 100% effective. No one has said it. The fact is that breakthrough infections, again, are incredibly rare. Out of the more than 187 million people who have been fully vaccinated in the U.S. as of October 12th, 7,178 people, or 0.004%, had died from a breakthrough infection. 0.004%. Wow. Of that group, by the way, and Colin Powell would fall in this group, 85% of them were over the age of 65. It's almost as if, I don't know, older people are more susceptible to disease due to other conditions that weaken your immune systems. Also, just the fact that when you get older, your immune system starts to weaken anyway. Sucks. And so, I don't know, it's almost as if, I mean, perhaps if they knew anything about the human body, maybe that would make sense to them. But again, Fox News and our audience revel in ignorance and never tell anyone the whole truth. In fact, Powell was previously diagnosed with something called multiple myeloma, which is a type of blood cancer that tends to hurt the body's ability to fight infection. Weird. So, you could say, oops, but you know what? It's not an oops. This is a pattern. And we see this with other things too. And they'll use whatever example, right? For example, gun regulations, right? So conservatives say, well, if gun control doesn't work, it doesn't stop 100% of all gun crimes. And it also doesn't stop 100% of all crimes because somebody shot somebody with a bow and arrow or hit them with a stick. Obviously, gun control doesn't work at all. Or when they use it against anti-poverty programs. See, you didn't eliminate 100% of all poverty. Therefore, we shouldn't do anything about poverty because it doesn't work when you throw money at it. And it's this, and I've seen this logical fallacy that conservatives use over and over and over again. Okay, that if something doesn't work 100% of the time or meet a stated goal, then it's obviously worthless and you should completely throw it out. They don't understand that you can make progress and actually, for example, cut child poverty in half. Well, you've still cut child poverty in half. And they say, well, if you haven't cut it by 100% using the resources that you have, well, then you shouldn't throw the resources at all. But in reality, of course, they don't want to solve child poverty. They don't want to solve poverty at all. They want to give all the money to the rich, to their donors. And so, and by the way, they also use their power to undercut anything that would actually help, regular people. That would actually help them achieve goals to help their voters. And so they get into power and they say, well, first they say, it doesn't work. And then they get into power and they make sure that they're right. They do everything in their power to make sure that they're right. And look, the Delta variant is now the main variant in the United States. It's now the main version of COVID. And look, there's a reason. Fox News continues to muddy the waters on vaccines, on vaccine effectiveness, which creates, of course, hesitation. And then they create this, as I said, this hesitation on vaccines, and then they get to go around when the numbers explode and blame the Biden administration for, how could you let this happen? You're doing such a terrible job on COVID. Let me tell you, if you elect us Republicans, you let us get back into power, we can actually solve that, wink, wink. Come on, this is ridiculous. Look, and by the way, unvaccinated Americans are 11 times more likely to die from COVID than the unvaccinated. That's a stone cold fact. You hear Fox News talking about that? You hear Fox News bringing up that stat? No, not at all. All right. So now we have more. So we have Fox host John Roberts, who tweeted this out. He said, the fact that Colin Powell died from a breakthrough COVID infection raises new concerns about how effective vaccines are long term. Now, John Roberts is supposed to be a quote-unquote journalist. That didn't sound, that tweet was missing a lot of context here, right? Again, Powell was immunocompromised and therefore more susceptible to infection. Now, that tweet got owned so hard that he had to delete it. And then he offered this 3-part explanation. Take a look. I deleted my tweet about the tragic death of Colin Powell because many people interpreted it as anti-vax. It was not. I was excited to get vaccinated, hoping it would help speed a return to normal life. I also did a PSA on Fox encouraging vaccination for those able. As we all know, the FDA is now recommending boosters for certain people, and I personally know a number of people who have had breakthrough infections, some of them quite troubling. Yes, Powell had myeloma, but I was still stunned to hear of his passing from COVID. We live in the same town, and we would occasionally run into each other at the local sandwich shop. His death is a loss for our community and our country. I plan to get a booster as soon as possible. Now, if he knew anything about anything, if he was an actual journalist, he would not have been stunned at this. Again, Colin Powell was at risk, more so than the average person, because he had that condition. Again, journalist, right? Journalist. So now, let me go here. See, again, you can't leave out the context. Okay, you don't. The guy did not include, and again, it's the same thing with that Will Cain. They did not include the fact that vaccines are the most effective at preventing hospitalization and death. And again, they didn't include the cancer, his age, large factors here. And yet, for somebody who claimed to be a journalist, did not understand how context actually matters. And the worst thing about this, too, is that no matter what retractions or anything, and again, you got the deleted tweet there, but nobody said, Will Cain hasn't come out and said, oh, context, right? Context. Because they don't need context on Fox News. The message that they planned to deliver was already delivered. That audience is going to ignore any nuance and think, well, Colin Powell was vaccinated and he died. Therefore, vaccines obviously don't work. We should get rid of the mandates. Because the mandates are only about control, right? Only about control. They just want to control my life. They just want to run my life. By the way, women in Texas can't get an abortion because we're, quote unquote, pro-life. Give me a break. Give me a break. And I can guarantee a large amount of the conservatives and anti-vaxxers in general are going to take this news like that. Now, one more point here. It is not surprising to me to see Republicans use one of their own to spread dangerous disinformation. After all, Colin Powell is known for spreading outright lies about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction in order to lead us into a disastrous war. Make no mistake, the man is a war criminal. Absolutely, 100%. I will not mourn this man's passing. But let me just say, I will be damned. I will be damned if I let them get away with using his death as a way to spread their nonsense anti-vax bullshit. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.